Hello and welcome to the show. I am here on Forza 6 with another Autocross car build. Today I have got the new Focus RS. Very recently I drove the previous RS, the incredibly powerful front-wheel drive car, around the Autocross course and it struggled a little bit. This certainly has potential to be really rather fast. It is the four-wheel drive Focus. Starts off with 350 horsepower and 350 torque, so I reckon this might be a pretty decent vehicle. I'm not sure we're quite going to challenge the very top of the table. I don't think it's quite going to get light enough. However, this should be pretty well suited for autocrossing. It starts off as a relatively low B-class car. Probably not going to be messing about changing the engines. We are going to put on the Forza aero parts. Wow. What a rear wing that one is. Sure, after the crazy hot rod stuff, we get that on the Focus. Well, I'm going to want it either way. Wow, that drops the PI massively. Now, the reason why that'll drop the PI is it adds drag, lowers top speed. Well, that's not a problem for autocross, so that's some sort of almost 10 PI I've got to play with, more than I would have had. Fantastic. Okay, wait, hold on. We've got to want tyre widths first. What are we going to get? 265s on the front, I suspect. Then we're going to get 265s all around. Indeed, we are. Is okay. I would like slightly bigger. In fact, the rear tyres drop PI. Don't see that as you sometimes, like I say, even with front-wheel drive cars, come to think about it, I don't think you normally see it drops on it. It doesn't increase it by very much. That's peculiar. Yes, it does add some weight having the wider tyres, but this being a four-wheel drive car will still benefit from having larger rear tyres. That is rather odd. I want to do the tyre widths first because I don't know how much PI the race tyres are going to add, but it's not going to matter anyway. We're going to want race tyres on our car as well. This is perhaps the bigger question. How much weight will the weight reduction take out? I could do with it being quite a lot, in all honesty. This is not exactly a lightweight vehicle at the moment. So fingers crossed when we get that weight reduction on, because I'm going to want to put the roll cage in. I know it's a modern car and everything, but anything that can help with handling, so having that slightly stiffer chassis, etc., is going to be good for autocross. So I am going to have the roll cage. That too loses me some PI. Get us down to 2,900 pounds, 652 PI. I would have liked it to be a couple of £100 lighter, really. It is not ideal. It's not terrible, though. And unlike with the Focus RS, when the other Focus RS, when you gave it the power to make up the PI to the top of A-Class, this shouldn't have a problem having 450 horsepower. Now, let's just see if... sometimes cars, you can lower the PI with a gearbox. This one, I was kind of suspecting we wouldn't be able to, because it's going to start with a slightly more sportier gearbox, so just less in the way of kind of possible upgrades. We will put the diff in, though. Now, I think to finish it off, it's really going to be a case of engine parts. If we can save some weight in here, then we will. Let's have a look. Will this... No, it won't lower. They won't lower the weight. Sometimes these can. I've seen certainly a supercharger, I've seen a couple of them lower some weight. It's not normally by a huge amount. Let's go for the air filter as well. We're not going to get it under 2,900, I don't think. We might. We'll see if we can... If we can work it with the parts so that we can go for sort of like a driveline bit, maybe we can. I don't think we're quite going to... No, so that's pretty much our best bet, I think. 406 horsepower, 406 torque. So basically the power and torque, it seems to be always the same in this car. It's not bad torque figure, actually. It's not bad torque figure at all in this car. Definitely think it has potential to be quick. Whether it's actually going to be fast or not. No, I was wondering if I could sneak on a part in this, any of these parts. The answer is no. They jump the PI up massively, and seeing as the car's already going to be it's going to be a decent handling vehicle. I'd rather take the power over the little weight loss in this situation. If we get higher weight loss, I'd like it, but we can't. That is going to have to be the Focus. Well, the power torque pretty decent. Weight maybe a little high, though four-wheel drive should give it very, very good traction. certainly plenty of potential for this vehicle to go quickly. Of course, to test out the Focus, I have brought it to the Hockenheim circuit, where it will have 3 attempts through the Autocross course to try and beat the time set by a Renault 5 Turbo. Our current leader has a 2:05.2, which is a mighty quick time through this course. I'm not sure the Focus is quite going to be up to that, you never know. Perhaps the Focus's most interesting target could be to go the fastest of the 4-wheel drive cars, a title currently held by the Jeep Grand Wagoneer. Believe it or not, that still remains the fastest 4-wheel drive car in 14th place. 2:06.9 is the Jeep's time. I think the Focus can probably challenge that. Provided it is as good driving as I expect it to be, we could see it beat the Wagoneer. But there's really only one way to find out. Fingers crossed it will drive well after the incredibly smoky start. Okay, wow, we've got so much more turning than I was expecting from this car. Immediately took out a gate. This thing has got a hell of a lot of turning through that first section. I wonder if we can probably be flat through that section there as well. I was expecting perhaps a little bit more in the way of understeer from this car, and there just isn't any. There is absolutely none. Even with the Hot Rod's giant rear tyres. Oh, I'm trying to carry far too much speed now through some of these gates. Even with the Hot Rod's giant rear tyres, that thing was still spinning its wheels up out of some of these corners. That is not a problem you're going to have with the Focus. However, straight line speed is not amazing out of this car. The Hot Rod, despite all of its craziness, was getting to about 120, I think about 122 miles an hour down that back straight. This considerably slower. I fear that perhaps, let's face it, they're about the same horsepower figures, this and the Bone Shaker, and they're 700 pounds different, and that is a lot of weight between the two vehicles. So this may be lacking. In fact, it is lacking the acceleration in comparison to some of the other vehicles. It can hopefully make up for it though with some impressive traction and some very, very good handling. How do we do under brakes? It's not bad. Not bad. Drifting a little wide. That was more to do with me though than the car. You get a lot more confidence from this Focus than I have had from a few of the vehicles lately. Oh, we're running a smidge wide through there. Now, how are we going to fare? This is where the Renault 5 was so mighty. The Renault 5's the way the front end gets changed direction through here. I clipped the splitter on a barrel like an idiot. That's where the Renault 5 was so good. I'm not sure we're quite as good as the Focus. 15 seconds worth of time penalties, though, from that first run means that this is looking like, if I get things right, looking like a pretty damn fast car. On to the second run for the Focus, and if I can not turn into the gates a little bit too soon, if we can avoid clipping that inside barrel, that would indeed be very useful. Got to say, I am impressed with the way that this car changes direction. It really doesn't feel like a four-wheel drive car, with the exception, of course, the traction out of the turns, which is lovely. It doesn't feel like a four-wheel drive car. There's not that bit of understeer when going through these higher speed gates. It is mighty impressive. Oh, bugger. Almost got it nailed flat through that high-speed section. I think I may have just brushed the splitter on the inside barrel there, which is a little bit of a shame. Gotta be careful. I'm trying to be brave with this car because I think it can carry some mighty speed through these corners, but you've really got to get everything right if you're going to try and take this much speed. This is where it loses out slightly. Does not have the straight line speed we have seen from some other cars. Now that is about the only section though where that's really going to be a problem. It may potentially lack a little bit of acceleration, for example like down here, maybe slightly lacking on some cars. I think overall though, the traction and the speed at which you could attack these gates will probably make up. That was 50 miles an hour on the run out of that twistiest section. I certainly can't remember a car that's done that for a little while, although I'm still doing it. I'm still kind of turning in Perhaps a smidge. Oh, again, I don't even think I touched that barrel. That was a very question. Definitely one of these I've full-on whacked. The other ones have been very minuscule clips. The barrel's not even wiggled in the rear view mirror. So, this is yeah, it's fast. It's a very, very fast vehicle around here. However, I think we've got to watch out for the front splitter just nicking the gates. Again, it may be just the slight turning in too early. I was better this time around, and we are going to set a blinding time, considering there's 15 seconds of time penalty in that from gates clipped. This could well be on to challenge the Renault. Well, this Focus RS is definitely impressing me as we come on to the final run. I thought it might be quick, I thought it might be good at this. I wasn't quite expecting it to be as good as it is, and if I can get everything right here, it has a real shot at going faster than the Renault. It's certainly going to go close. Got to be brave though with the car. A tiny confidence lift on the way in. Just settle everything through that first section. Still 108 miles an hour. It's up there with the likes of the Volkswagen Beetle. Fractionally down on the Bug, but still, that's mighty quick. It's such a lovely car to drive. It's a car that fills you with confidence when running around an autocross course, and that is what you need if you want to go quickly. A car that you kind of know what it's going to do around these turns. Yes, we are a little bit down on straight line speed to some of the absolute fastest accelerating cars. It's perhaps not surprising. There are much lighter vehicles with similar, if not more, horsepower. However, through the gates, this thing is so stable and so predictable that it can make up all of the time lost. And of course, we have got that fantastic traction out of the corners. We're even across the curb, and the car is okay with it. That curb has caused many an issue. We've had many cars going sideways around that part of the track. When you bump the curb, no issue for the Focus whatsoever. Now down towards the hairpin for the final time. The pillar does slightly obscure the barrels, which is a little bit of a shame. Was it the RX-8 had similar problems with a pillar in an inopportune place for some of these corners. That's yeah, little bit on the irritating side, but we are round and normal racing. That's not something that will likely crop up, or I might have overdriven it fractionally into these final gates as they run towards the line. It's not going to matter. It's quick enough. 2:04.9, the first car to break under the 2:05 around this circuit. I know I ran it just about 3 miles an hour, probably too fast into that final section. Maybe lost a tenth or two into there. I did recover it from that situation. Oh, that is a good car. That is a bloody good car around here. I was expecting it to be a fairly decent vehicle. The Focus, after all, a hatchback four-wheel drive is likely to suit this kind of course quite well. 400 horsepower as well in a four-wheel drive car in A-Class is pretty good going. The SVX only had about 300. I wasn't quite expecting the handling to be so amazing. It really is. It really is an incredible car to drive. It is very, very predictable. The turning is fantastic. There is pretty much no understeer in this car. Yes, if you push the vehicle really, really, really hard, you will find understeer eventually, but that's probably because you're carrying far too much speed into a corner. It is an incredibly predictable car to drive, so it gives you the confidence to really attack an autocross course. It gives you the confidence to go faster and faster through these gates, and while it hasn't got the most acceleration out of the vehicles, it's a few miles an hour down on quite a few of the vehicles. That doesn't matter when you can carry so much speed through the gates, and you can put the power down to the road very, very well. The Focus RS is pretty amazing. That's That's pretty much the car summed up. It's an incredible vehicle, and it is our new fastest autocross car, 0.3 of a second faster than the Renault 5 Turbo. It beats the 911, the Corvette, even the VW Beetle, and the Mazda RX-8. It's, you know, it's pretty close at the top of the table. It isn't a sort of a massively dominating lead the Focus has, but it is impressive to go that much faster. I mean, you know, it's a second quicker than the Nissan Silvia, the Fiat Dino. That's some impressive speed around this course. Yeah, I very, very much like this Focus RS. I wasn't sure I was going to like it, but yeah, I do. I really highly recommend you have a go with this vehicle. However, that is it for this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.